きいおじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう嬉しそうできるスイカ
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And today we're wrapping up coverage of Oshinoko's first season, and season 2 is on the way, and if you want to stick around for when we cover that too, go ahead and hit the like button, head on down to the comments, let us know what you think of the podcast, and subscribe to the channel for more episodes of the podcast, and other videos too, future coming someday. Now, fuck me, I'm sick. I already need to cough. If you couldn't tell, I'm back from CEO, and I got another infection from Daytona Beach, 2 in a row, back-to-back years. I think I'm just allergic to racism, which is a big blow for me mentally.
Maybe this is an indictment against Daytona Beach.
I'm sorry, I was literally coughing while you said that. Indictment against what?
Against Daytona Beach and their public health. Oh lord, this podcast is going extremely well already. But it's okay because we're talking about peak.
I wouldn't necessarily call it quite peak, but it is good.
Okay, well maybe this is a different in standards of peak, or maybe you just hate it. Maybe we're gonna have a raging debate going on this entire time.
Oh no, are we about to have the debate of an 8 out of 10 versus a 9 out of 10?
I mean, you already know what I gave it, I guess. Because I spoiled it on Twitter.
I actually didn't see a score.
Oh, okay. Well then. Lucky me.
That or you forgot to post it.
Nah, I know where the score is, and I saw it. I just didn't put it in the first tweet like usual.
Okay.
これ言ったら先輩になるよピーマン体操でオリコン1位取って音楽番組出まくってた人だし人の黒歴史掘り返すな始まるよピーマン食べたらスーパーマン何も踊ればピーターパン
But yeah, so last time we our general consensus was that the show was good and, you know, very, very bingeable and easy to watch. And I went crazy for the Akane episode for about half the podcast. So there you go. A very balanced and well-balanced and nice take. Half of it about a single episode and then shoving the rest into the latter half of the runtime. And this time, for this block of episodes, we're wrapping up the Akane stuff and entering a new arc about, you know, Kana and Mem and Ruby starting this idol group and singing their first song, and we leave off with a teaser about, you know, what's to happen in season 2. And yeah, my thoughts remain pretty much unchanged. Akane is still my favorite character, which I know everyone is looking at me like I'm insane over.
You only like her because she's mentally ill.
Okay, listen, that's not the only thing.
And that she wears a beanie.
Listen. Okay, there you go. Those are the two things. You got it right, finally. She wears a beanie.
You see, I'm surprised that Kana's not your girl when she, not only does she have a little... goddamn, I'm forgetting what the name of the French hat is.
Like a beret?
Is that what the name of it?
Because I don't remember her wearing a beret, but that is a French hat.
Hold on, I need, I got the sick brain. I need to remember what a beret looks like. Yeah, she totally wore a beret. At least a very tiny one. Then I don't blame you for not remembering, though, because she wears, like, 10 different hats.
The outfit design in this show is peak, and for some reason, I mean, I guess I always noticed it, but this episode it was really hitting me with Beanie Akane lives rent-free in my head. She wore it for like maybe 2 minutes of an entire episode,
she was
and
wearing it with
screen
glasses,
capped
and that was the best she
also
ever looked.
that. I see. That took up like 2 minutes of an episode. The reason why I remember it is because I screen capped every single frame of her in that beanie. I was not letting a single bit of it go.
You see, I screen capped every single frame of Kana doing one of her bad bitch poses, because she got a lot of those.
I did screen cap a few of those. So I guess we can just jump into it chronologically with wrapping up the Akane arc. So the gist of how it's wrapped up is that okay, so I'm going through my notes and I actually just remembered this one bit that I like with Kana. Kana sort of takes the role of explaining things throughout this show about the industry. You know, she always has a bit of commentary about the way things are and sort of nonchalantly explaining it to Ruby. And I love the bit in episode 7 where she sort of explains what we were getting at in episode 6 of how, you know, it starts off with Kana saying, you know, Akane is getting roasted online in sort of like this nonchalant way that contrasts between the, you know, panic everyone else is feeling about, you know, Akane nearly killing herself. But obviously Kana don't think knows that at this point, but she's like, yeah, no, she's going through the ringer. And Ruby's, or like she says, like, you know, or no, Ruby says, like, oh, but don't you get used to it as a public figure? You know, don't you eventually just get the hang of it? And Kana's like, yeah, kind of. You never entirely get used to it, and some people just don't. And, you know, it's sort of hitting home on the same basis that we were covering in our last podcast about, you know, the nature of being a public figure and how you can't necessarily, like, not everyone is cut out to be able to handle all of that wave of criticism. And so I liked that bit, but Aqua, he hatches a scheme, man. He is scheming. He's like, he takes a bunch of the pictures. Well, okay. So first of all, he publicizes her suicide attempt. You know, he's the one to leak the DMs, all epic style. So so he does that, and then he's like, okay, you know, after that, he's like, okay, so we're gonna take a bunch of footage from the show of like the actors just being themselves, being their natural self, because the producers inherently show like a sort of like distorted narrative of what actually happened, and he eventually
they need to paint Akane as the villain to make for good television.
That's her role. And, you know, he eventually like gets this one guy to give him footage that he's like not supposed to have. The footage filmed on a camera of because the rest of the footage is like from the actors recording, but this is like from the camera person recording, one of the studio cameras. And he sort of like makes a moral argument as to why giving him the footage is the right thing to do, of like, oh, you know, you're an adult, you're 35, this girl's 17. 17-year-olds all make, you know, silly little mistakes, and you're going to let that haunt her for the rest of your life. You aren't going to give me the footage to set things straight, even though it's like this taboo of the industry that you're never supposed to get the private footage. And, you know, so they put together this video, and it is like this. It's weird because I never expected going into like this dating show arc, which it is a full-on proper arc of being in this dating show. And I never expected the characters to feel like so chummy by the end. They feel like close friends. Like they're obviously not close, but they're like working together really well. They have like, you know, like a decently fun group dynamic of like working together on this video, you know, all towards this one cause of clearing Akane's name and, you know, helping a sister out. It's really endearing stuff.
It's definitely endearing. Although I did kind of, and I guess this lends more into what is holding back me giving endless gushing of praise for this show is I couldn't help but feel like we're missing, as the show goes on, we're missing the crunch that we got from stuff like Ai's death and Akane's suicide attempt, where it's like the whole appeal of this show was on the premise of, hey, we're gonna be taking a dark look at the entertainment industry and all like the fucked up relationships that can arise from it. And now here we are. I suppose they're trying to portray it in like, hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Like there can be some good things that come out of it. But it feels like it's kind of like it's trying to have its cake and eat it too. About like, hey, in the same show about this young idol teen mom that gets murdered by a crazy fan in a conspiracy, and also this teenage girl tries to kill herself because she is being portrayed as a villain in this dating show. Let's put together a video for Twitter to, you know, make her feel better and clear her name.
That's such a weird complaint. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have an issue with... not understand where you're coming from.
I don't have an issue with that in the vacuum, but then it gets, because like this particular issue gets resolved within the same episode where we find out that, oh, Akane, you know, she actually is mentally ill, because not just because she wanted to kill herself from online criticism, but because when given an opportunity to act like Aqua's ideal type of girl to continue the show and, you know, pay him back, to so to speak, for saving her life, she almost like into obsessive stalker territory, researches endlessly of Hoshino's personality, to the point where she's now mimicking her perfectly and throwing away seemingly her own personality in the name of winning over both the audience and Aqua over with this fake personality that she's adapting, which in fuck me, in turn is like, I'm over here thinking, damn, maybe he should have let her jump. Maybe this is a fate worse than death.
Yeah, it's like she's so like earnest is the word that's coming to mind, but it's like very twisted. Earnest. Yeah, like a very twisted sort of perfectionistic earnestness where like she's not really doing it how she's supposed to. You know, she's supposed to be taking hints from Ai's personality and adapting it into screen presence, but instead, you know, it's almost like playing...
She is Ai.
Like what an actor would do for a character, but applied to a real person and taken to an obsessive extreme.
Like it's almost method acting, and she is able to turn it on and off whenever she wants. But like,
she also has pictures of Ai taped all over her walls.
Yeah, like, and with matching descriptions, and like she had to do so much research into her background and make up like stuff in her own head to fit the narrative that she's trying to interpret from it. Although I will say, it is framed impeccably within the show. Her having eyes, star eyes, and
that shot was so good. When like, it's the shot at the end of episode, I think 7. Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of episode 7, where she like, you know, walks into the room, and at first it's like her torso and shown, like her body, but then Ai like is slowly, you know, doing the shaft head tilt towards Akane, and then we see her eyes with the stars in them. It is so cool.
And it's also sold by Aqua's reaction, especially after his self-assuredness that like Ai's someone, like she was so genuine and like one of a kind. Like she's not something you could just like mimic or act on the spot. It's like she's a one of a kind. Often imitated, never replicated, except she does it anyway. And it gives Aqua conflicting pants feelings.
Yeah, it's like this... Aqua's reaction is really what sold it to me. Like this whole becoming like a facsimile of Ai, where, you know, it's like she copies her mannerisms to such a degree that makes Aqua... it gives... I don't know, there's something really interesting about that in a way that I don't think any other show has quite replicated for me, or that I haven't really seen before, where I don't know, it's just like such a unique idea, I guess, but at the same time, it totally feels at home in this show of, completely becoming another person, which is essentially no social masking, but it's becoming this person that's dear to Aqua, and who's kind of his a love interest.
I appreciate
sort of way.
the dark undertones to it, to be like, hey, Akane, girl who just tried to kill herself, what's the ideal way to get into this guy's heart that you like? Pretend to be someone else entirely. Literally just put on the mask. That is, in fact, what the point of the mask is, and just live a lie.
Yeah, it's sort of getting to the heart of, I think, a depersonalization in regards to being a celebrity, where many people take the route of, okay, and this is like very explicit main text in the show. One of the best ways to survive as a celebrity, according to the characters in the show, is to put on a mask. That's what the point of the mask is, to put on this fake personality. And it's so tempting to do because, to draw a weird comparison, right? This is going to come straight out of left field, but someone like Digibro, who is entirely themselves online, and therein probably has as many people who fucking hate him, her,
them,
as people, him, whatever.
It's acceptable.
Old Digi, there we go. Old Digi, as, people who liked him. Past tense.
Crunchy, we can't be mad to Digi nowadays. We have to levy to get them on the podcast.
True. But someone like that who is like so true to themselves would drive away most people. If you want to be liked by everyone, just either have no personality or have a personality that is sort of impossible to hate. And God, I'm trying to like think of examples that aren't YouTubers, but I'm a Zoomer. I'm in too deep. I'm a YouTuber. I'm in too deep.
No, I said Zoomer.
Oh, Zoomer, yeah. I am also that, unfortunately. I do not identify with Zoomers. Kill all Zoomers except for me.
One little note I forgot to pile on my point. Not just pretending to be someone else, also pretend to be this dead famous person who was murdered. Just one more little flavor. Yeah, just a little flavor to the grimace shake.
But I want to go back to what you were saying earlier, because we did sort of get sidetracked about this admittedly very interesting plot point, but you were saying that the show isn't dark enough, and I feel like what's coming to mind is you watched Perfect Blue and now you want that again.
I actually didn't think about that, but now that you pointed it out to me, maybe. I'm not saying every deconstruction of the idol genre needs to be Perfect Blue, because that'd be boring, and Perfect Blue already did it perfectly, so, I'm just saying that for a show that, for all intents and purposes, opens with a murder, and I know it's because it was a movie feature-length episode 1, but if you're gonna, have 2 murders and these fucking bizarro, dark looks at the entertainment industry with teen pregnancy, hiding your true self, hiding the fact that you have kids, getting fucking murdered by stalker fans, and all this shady, all this shady shit. And I'm not saying we can't have little moments of levity and good natured. Hey, let's get our friend's mood back on track by making this video to clear her name and get her reputation, get her uncanceled. But it felt like those rare moments of crunch were the exception and not the standard. I thought we were gonna be seeing that kind of stuff more frequently, and maybe season 2 has some shit that's gonna knock my socks off, and maybe it's one of those things where you have to appreciate the time between the crunch. You have to chew between the crunches, that way when the crunch does come, you'll be like, oh wow, okay, that was that was some rough stuff. All right, I'm back on board now. It just feels like we've gone from that to, hey, let's unironically make an idol anime.
So I have a lot of thoughts about that. So first of all, I do like 25% agree. I'm being very specific with my percentages here. I 25% agree.
He mathematically calculated it in his head.
Yeah, I it was like on the fly math in my head, but the reason why I say that is because the emotional high, or I guess low points of episodes 1 and 6 are, I think, the most emotionally arresting and effective moments in the show. And I say in my big old Twitter thread about, having just finished the show, my thoughts on it, I say that, hey, more moments like that, please, because this show, I think, does have 10 potential. And, those sorts of moments do make, those are like the peaks. But at the same time, there's a very specific distinction between my thoughts and yours that I would like to make, which is that I am not necessarily looking for something dark. I enjoy, because when you're describing, I've seen a little
I'm not saying I don't appreciate the levity and I need it to be dark 24/7. I'm saying that
I know that's not what you're saying.
To open with such a holy shit moment, with the murder of not just the gynecologist, but I herself. You would think there'd be some more heavier moments along that, especially with how fucking bloody it was. You'd think there'd be more moments along those lines, and the only as close as we get was episode 6, which was a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's only 2 of the 11 episodes.
See, I still disagree. I don't even necessarily care that it isn't dark enough, I guess. It's more so that those are the moments that happen to be dark are also the most emotional moments. And to basically illustrate my point better, the stuff with Kana and her inferiority complex brought on by being a has-been child actor who, back in the day was, revered by everyone, and then as time went on, she sort of got left in the dust and people stopped caring about her. That is fascinating to me, but I don't think the way it's
can I
framed...
out myself as a fake fan?
I thought fake fan alert.
That was the least interesting part of the least interesting plot line of the season, in my opinion. Not because
I don't even disagree. I was about
and
to
the only reason I say that
thing.
is because the stuff with Ai and the stuff with Akane was just vastly more interesting and complex in comparison.
See, yeah, I completely agree on that front. And that's what I was getting to, is that the reason why episodes 1 and 6 are the most emotional while also happening to be the darkest is because episode 11, or I guess episodes 10 and 11, the Kana arc, had I guess the potential to be as emotionally arresting, but I think we're either I'm pretty sure we're building to that point. I think we're laying a foundation more so with this arc of, hey, here's the gist of what the idol stuff will be like, and we're gonna get deeper into this as the show goes on. But that means that by building the groundwork here for season 2, you do kind of have a less interesting arc where Kana, really what it comes down to is her monologuing about how, as a child actor, she was, sort of left in the dust, and then hey, I'll try my best, man. I'll win over my fans. But I feel like there was a much more emotional way you could have gone about expressing that. And that's what I would like more of from this show. Not even necessarily the dark things, but the more emotional side of it, of bringing out the waterworks. Make me cry, man. Oh, I feel like Hoshino has a big cry in there somewhere. It has the potential, man. Come on, you can do it.
The big cry for me is when they when Aqua saved Akane. Should have let her jump.
Well, you're so mean. Hey,
make her do a
I'm the
flip.
number one Akane stan. This is deeply offensive to me. But yeah, it's like, to me, like, if you just get those emotional moments, and also, here's another thing that I love about Oshinoko, is that it feels like it's constantly building this, like, gradual commentary about the idol industry. And, like, not even just the idol industry, but, like entertainment as a whole, and the nature of it, and the nature of these industries, and of truth and lies. And it's like, it almost feels like the story is sucking you into this worldview ever so gradually. And what I can't help but feel is that, like, as the seasons go on, and as we just see more and more of that perspective on the entertainment industry expressed, that over time, but just by the nature of the I guess messaging being progressed, the show will just automatically get better as we, hear more of Akasaka's opinions about it, because we're just stacking on message after message, and it is very interesting to see that gradually build up. You were saying that you wanted it to be darker. I guess I'm gonna also have to out myself here. I don't necessarily like uber dark things. I guess I don't like
Yeah.
depressing media.
I mean, I'm not overly big on grimdark. I love angst. I love when my media has
like
angst in it.
But to me, it's like, I don't even necessarily want Oshinoko to be darker. Like, I think it's already plenty dark. There's plenty of, it's still effectively, like, conveying everything that it sets out to do, I feel. And all the messages it has about the darker sides of the entertainment industry. And I sort of like the blend of tones we have of the characters with tons of personality, and decently funny comedy scenes, while also having these uber dark moments, and we can slowly build to those and make sure that each of those has as much impact as possible.
I just can't help but feel like, and think back to, Ai's death and Akane's entire episode 6, where the show, on both its presentation and its directing, was like firing on all cylinders, and they were the absolute
Okay, to
peaks
be
of
fair,
the
episode
show.
6 is probably the best directed episode of the show.
And I feel like,
or episode
because
1.
in addition to missing that kind of it's maybe not in addition to, but maybe even because we're missing that kind of energy, that kind of it feels like now that level of presentation is just pretty much absent from the show, and the only time it even somewhat returns again is in the final episode with the idol performance, and even then it's only for a decent idol performance sequence that's, thank God, not CG. We can clasp our hands and praise Doga Kobo for that one. But I can't help but feel like, in terms of the direction of the show, it peaked in episodes 1 and 6.
I don't necessarily disagree with the bit about the directing, and this could have been a better directed show. There could have been more inventive shots that maybe I haven't read the manga, so I can't say for sure, but I feel like it stuck a little too close to it at times, maybe, in terms of its visual presentation, and maybe could have spiced things up at times. Though it's still a fantastic looking show on the whole, so I'm not too upset about it. It honestly, like, it wouldn't. If everything about the writing was a 10 out of 10, the directing would not make put it back down to a 9 or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
it doesn't become poorly directed. I just miss the peaks,
I sort of get where you're coming from. I still don't really get the dark thing, though. That's the one thing that I'm like holding out on and don't really see your side on.
Let me try to best articulate it with my sick voice. I expect a lot of coughing. The best way I can break it down is we just go from having all of these fascinating layers of the dark fucked up glimpses into the entertainment industry that I listed off before, and it seems kind of strange to then attempt to jump back into like all of those things that the show has built up, being like, hey, here are all like the fucked up things that can result from getting into this industry and even attempting to make a name for yourself out there. Now let's have Ruby, Kana, and Mem have an earnest, unironic crack at it, and like not bring up any of the dark shit that could potentially happen. The only downsides we'll bring up is that, hey, what if they don't get famous? It just feels like a instead of like a dark, honest look at the at least if we want to focus it on the idol industry specifically, it feels less like a dark magnifying glass held up to the idol industry, and more like a more realistic depiction of becoming an idol, as as detached from your love lives and your idol masters, of how like, oh, if you are audition with the right cast, with the right agency, you'll get where you're going with just hard work and determination.
I did not get that vibe at all, honestly. Because to me, like I said, I think this is mostly the stuff about Ruby and Kana and Mem going out on this idol thing is like basically the groundwork of what will eventually become, I presume, a big sprawling idol arc. But even then, like, there's still the stuff about Kana's hangups and about looking into the crowd with only one. At first, there's like only one white glow stick, and that's Aqua's. Which, by the way, all right, side tangent. I know this is completely unrelated to what I was talking about. This is actually like the worst thing in the entire block of episodes. In the initial crowd shots with all the glow sticks, it's just red and yellow. So there's like the different colored glow sticks to represent who's cheering for which idol. The yellow ones are for Mem, the red ones are for Ruby, the white ones are for Kana. In that shot, in the crowd shot, there is not a single glow stick that is white at first. Meanwhile, there are people rooting for Ruby. Ruby is not a public figure. This is like, well, she's kind of one from the YouTube channel, but she has no pre-established presence before that. Kana was at least a child actor. She's at least a has-been. Ruby has never been. Like, I don't understand how it is even physically possible for there to not be a single Kana Arima fan in that crowd until Aqua raises his glow stick.
If Kana
I do
Arima
not buy
has 100 fans, I am one of them. If Kana Arima has one fan, I am one of them. If Kana Arima has no fans, I'm dead.
I genuinely don't buy that. There should be like at least a few. Like, I'd even be fine with it being less than
I love how
I just need at least
you
a
take
couple.
such a great issue with my man. I don't know what you're talking about, how you wanted the show to be more dark, and yet you're the one issue on this show you're harping on the most is Kana should have had more white glow sticks in the crowd.
It's not that she should have had more, it's that she didn't have any. And I don't believe that for a second. I know it's a nitpick, but I saw it and it would not leave my mind until Aqua finally raised his, and it's like, oh, there are a few others with white glow sticks in the crowd now. All of a sudden. Because I guess they were like, you know what, this Aqua guy has the right idea, Kana's doing pretty well for herself.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Speaking of Aqua, you want to know what the real sin of this show is? At least this block of episodes. We got like basically no progression on the Aqua trying to find Ai's killer front. We got one conversation, that's it.
I don't mind it. Because
I mind it intensely, because that's the most interesting part of the show.
I mean, to me, like, okay, so to be fair, like, the idol subplot is, or I say subplot, it's a main plot, but no, it is still not nearly as interesting as Aqua finding Ai's killer, but we also, like, this is, to be fair, the most interesting the idol stuff has ever been in the show, because they're finally expanding on it and going into Kana's history, but we also get the resolution to Akane's bit. And to me, that's like, just as, maybe even a little more interesting than finding Ai's killer, because I really like Akane. I really cling on to her arc and what she went through. So it's like, well, I don't necessarily mind it so much, because the Akane stuff we got more of that in this block, and then it still feels like we're making progress. This show isn't just about finding Ai's killer at this point. I thought it would be more of a pure thriller going in. It is not that. And
that's why I'm sad.
Once I adjusted to it, I was not upset. To be completely honest.
I thought it would be more thrilling.
But see, I like it.
You like slice of life.
This show, well, yeah. But even more than that, I like this show's... I am so invested in this show's commentary, because I really do feel like we're building towards something with it. And we've already... You want to know what makes me so invested in this show's commentary? Is because we've already had a peak with the Akane stuff. We've already seen the peak of a message being told. And there
Emphasis
is
on the word
still
peak.
more yet to be told. You were saying something. I was talking over you, and I did not hear.
I sarcastically said emphasis on the word peak, implying that the show doesn't reach those heights again.
Emphasis on the word peak because it is peak. There we go. But yeah, we've already got one little blip of the heart monitor or whatever, and I feel like we're building towards another blip, and then maybe a few more blips. And to me, it's like the show dragging you into that worldview makes it feel like it's always progressing. And even if it's not strictly about finding Ai's killer, it's about the industry as a whole and how different people approach it. And like you were talking about Ruby being so earnest about her delving into the idol industry. The thing is, that to me, in and of itself, to have a more conventional looking idol arc, I say looking because I think it's going to eventually give way to something much darker, but in a normal looking idol arc is to me even more interesting, because we're seeing it from almost the perspective of Ruby as I guess the ringleader, really. She's not the center, but she is essentially the one who starts it. And she's the optimistic one. She's the one that wants to follow in Hoshino's footsteps. Aqua is already yeah, this industry sucks and I hate it, and this is merely the means to an end. But for Ruby, she wholeheartedly believes that this is what she wants to do in life. And so to have it start off as functional and maybe eventually give way, more into what I guess the darker sides of it, while also sort of resembling this typical idol arc, to me makes sense. That doesn't upset me at all.
Yeah, well, I guess I can only Oshino cope and seethe over my missing crunch, and hope that season 2 onward has some more of that good shit. Not to say I disliked any of the disliked all the stuff that was given to us in this block of episodes. I was real particular fan of Aqua and Kana doing something that our fans have never experienced with their dads, and played catch.
That scene was really good of Aqua. He's trying to clear his head, and to him, Kana's the one person who doesn't I love the way he puts it, doesn't have these Machiavellian plots going on. I loved that.
Meanwhile, she's the most Machiavellian schemer of them all, because she's trying to figure out how to get in his pants.
I will say, you were talking about the idol bit being the least interesting plotline of the show so far. Actually, I'm going to amend my statement. The part where Kana has a misunderstanding about Aqua being in love with Akane is probably the least interesting one. It's just a side thing, but not really doing a whole lot for me.
Well, see, I wish reincarnation was never actually a part of the story, so I could ship Aqua and Kana without reservation.
Me too, except for Akane.
I thought you were going to say what with
the
the
true
Ruby.
OTP, we're forgetting the true OTP, Aqua X Ruby.
Hey man, if you put
we
two
need
burgers
to age
in a
him
blender,
down. So
is
we
it
need to
burger
age
or
him down so
smoothie?
it ceases being problematic.
I mean, is it really problematic if their souls aren't related?
True.
Never mind the fact that there's also like a 20-year age difference, but
Well, see, yeah, that's why they need to be aged down. No, it just removed the reincarnation aspect and it's no longer problematic.
yeah, nothing wrong with incest.
I see nothing wrong with this picture. Hey.
I guess that brings us to the girl who I still maintain that we as a society should come together and kill, Mem-cho.
You really hate... actually, you know what? I remember this from the Call of the Night podcast. You hate this type of character.
Well, truth be told, I don't hate Mem-cho, after these couple episodes. She's definitely kind of like, she reminds me of Chica from Glove is War, except way more, like, less of an airhead and more of a fleshed out individual. Like, of the primary cast, Chica definitely has the least development from Love is War, and I think that's mainly on purpose to keep her status as the comic relief character. But here it's just she's definitely the goofy, compared to everyone around her, goofy, manic, maybe chaotic, it's somewhat chaotic gremlin. And even down to the fact that she is lying about her age to pass herself off as younger and hip and more hip with the kids, where she says she's 18 but she's actually 25.
That bit made the rounds on Twitter, and yeah, I'll admit I don't really get the people who say they love Mem-cho because she hasn't
I don't
really
get the
done
love.
anything.
Yeah, she has in fact not done anything. I just like to keep up.
She regales her backstory.
I think we should kill her for the sole reason of her being an e-girl.
I wouldn't go that far.
She has 600,000 plus followers on TikTok. That should be reason enough.
I guess the main thing is I just don't get how she factors into the... I mean, maybe that's not a good way of putting it, because she is, like, objectively a part of the idol plot. But I guess I don't get how her deal affects everyone else's deals. That makes sense.
Well, as far as the present mem goes, it doesn't. Like, the whole point of including her was being like, hey, age shouldn't matter when it comes to an idol. Anyone can be an idol. And it was just, I thought it was kind of leaning on the, hey, let's take an unironic, earnest crack at the whole idol shtick, despite us, shining a spotlight on it, and exposing the ugly truth.
I feel like you're... See, I still just can't buy into the earnest, like if you saying, like, oh yeah, it's completely earnest.
They gave her a sad, relatable backstory of, hey, my mom got sick, and I had to pause high school to take about a bunch of jobs to put my brothers through college and make sure my mom didn't have to shoulder the burden herself. It's real, I guess, but I don't know, something about it's very saccharine.
I still do not see eye to eye on this specific complaint.
Pun.
True. I didn't even realize that pun as I made it.
I mean, you said it yourself. Outside of that, there's like nothing going on with Mem, in regards to the immediate story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate her. She's an endearing enough presence, but she definitely needs to be fleshed out a whole lot more and like have something to do with the plot if I'm going to get like super duper invested in her. Although the next arc is it does look promising. We're getting basically another cast, this time with Aqua and Akane as the main couple of this theatrical adaptation of this like 50 million selling manga that also has an anime adaptation. And
It's their world of Demon
Kana's
Slayer.
gonna be there. And yeah, I'm excited for that. And
Long hair Akane.
you did show me that on the hosts only chat, and I did get excited because I like me long haired girls.
I hate to say this because we're only 45 minutes in. Oh wait, hang on, right? We can't I know it's not, he didn't actually show up, but we can't forget to mention the return of the goat, Payon-san.
Oh, what? Aeon-san?
Payon?
Aeon-san.
Bruh?
Who is that?
Payon?
Oh, Peon. Okay, I thought you said Aeon-san for some reason.
No, I said Payon. That sick,
Peon.
I guess sick throat must have ate the P consonant.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Peon is back. Except kind of not really. He's on vacation, but
yeah,
Aqua
he is
has
laying
taken
pipe at the
his
beach,
mask.
no doubt.
Oh, for sure. But Aqua puts on the mask. That's what the point of the mask is. And he's like giving advice to, Kana being like, hey, I'm your fan. You don't have no one there. I'm your fan. I know you actually hate bell peppers, despite you never saying it in public. Which, by the way, this bell pepper gag is so funny. Kana did like this song with like dressed up as a bell pepper, or like,
she had a bell pepper
like, bell
hat.
peppers. Yeah, and people in like bell peppers behind her, and it became like this hit song that's like haunting her for the rest of her life, because that's all anyone knows her for.
Hey, bell peppers are based, man. I bought 2 of them just yesterday to eat to help combat my sickness.
How convenient that we start talking about bell peppers on Oshi no Ko, and then bam, you already have them from yesterday.
What can I say? I'm the world's most #1 diehard Kana fan without even realizing it.
But yeah, Peon is back, and based as ever. Yeah, that's about all I have.
The last thing I want to mention is the near final. It's the most final scene of note in the season where Akane and Aqua are out on a date at some like random cafe. Keeping up with work appearances for their dating show relationship on Instagram, where Kana fucking straight crashes their date and girl bosses all over Akane, being like, hey, that sexy piece of ass over there, that's my man. Don't you be stepping in on my man. And now season 2 is setting the groundwork to have them fight over the dick.
Yeah. Well, it also runs a little deeper than that, because Kana, as a child actor, stole all of Akane's roles. Akane was trying to make it big, and then
she took my jobs.
Yeah, and it is an interesting enough rivalry. Although, to be fair, Kana's motivation is just back away from my man. But Akane's motivation is interesting to me, where it's like, sort of like jealous. I'm going to do a little bit of speculation here. The sense of like jealousy between people in the industry. Maybe actors being jealous of other actors' abilities, inferiority like coming from that. There's many places you could take that, and that's what makes season 2 seem so exciting from this vantage.
Listen, if Akane ends up taking a knife to Kana, I will be back on the Oshi no Ko train.
This is what you truly want, the crunch you want.
This is what the people deserve. I know we're less than an hour in, and maybe it speaks to the front loading of ideas from the episode 1 and episode 6 of this anime. But I'm kind of out of things to say now.
I mean, hey, in defense of the runtime, people always say the podcast episodes need to be shorter, so this is about an average
the
Canton
first
episode of length.
sub-hour podcast.
Would it really be the first? I thought Rust Eater Bisco went on for only like 50 minutes.
Oh shit, did it? Let me check real quick. I mean, it's been so long. If it did, I'd probably just forgot. Rust Eater Bisco. No, it ran on for an hour 13 minutes.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is on track to be the shortest.
Dang, so hey, Hoshino at least has one record on its belt. But
all right, quick, how can we artificially inflate the length to make sure we never go under 1 hour again?
Well, I will say I'm about to go into closing thoughts on the show because we're at the end of one season. We can, it makes sense to go into that. So I made my Twitter thread and said it was a 9 out of 10. So you actually hit the nail square on the head without even realizing it. Of like, the thing that sells this show to me is that it goes down, it's like super bingeable, super easy to watch. Each episode like leaves you wanting another like as soon as possible, which is kind of why I'm glad that the podcast stopped me from watching this weekly. Because let's be real, I probably would have tried to do it, and let's be real, it probably would have been painful that I wouldn't be able to do it. Or like wouldn't be able to like instantly watch the next episode. And so it's like very easy to, continuously watch. I'm sure that people rewatching it will find that very easy. But unlike something to draw a comparison to, or I guess a weird comparison to Bleach, because that's also very easy to watch. But whereas Bleach is like easy to watch because of its simplicity and because you don't really need to think too hard, Oshi is kind of like the opposite of that, where there's so much going on, I guess, and where I'm invested in so many different nooks and crannies of the show, and where it has such a specific personality and worldview that it's trying to get you to buy into. It's like there's enough to think about that it's like constantly holding your attention. It's like just heady enough without overcomplicating itself, and it's very, very, very smooth to watch episode after episode. And it's just really fun. And I like pretty much all of the characters. Obviously not too invested in Mem-cho yet, but for the most part, they're all like, at the very least, eyebrow raising, intriguing, and in a lot of cases, like especially Akane, someone I'm deeply invested in. All around, it's like fast paced. It doesn't spend too long on things that it doesn't need to, and just fun time all around. And like I meant it when I said this show has 10 potential. Season 2 could, if it has more of those emotional high points and really gets to the core of interesting ideas in the same way episode 6 did, I feel like we have like a straight 10 on our hands. But as of now, this is like a very solid groundwork for what will hopefully be an amazing season 2.
Yeah, I am looking forward to season 2. Wouldn't it be hilarious if they opened with another hour and a half long episode 1?
I would strangle people if that happens.
Hey, Crunchy, you excited for Freyren?
I'm excited for it, but I am not excited for the fact that episode 1 is going to be 2 hours. I refuse to believe that is justified.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm looking forward to the fall cast where we have to fucking convince someone to join and be like, hey, one of the first episodes 2 hours, by the way.
Oh god. Yeah, that's gonna be a rude awakening. A few isekai might go on the chopping block because of that one.
And yep, I think that we'll actually just have to do her.
What are your sick voice thoughts on Oshinoko? Because you didn't give a number yet. Well, I guess 8, but
yeah, it's still an 8. I agree with what you said about it being easy to watch. It is a very bingeable show, and I suppose the last talking point I'll have about it is, hey, here, anyone watching good anime YouTubers, you can have this one for free from me to you. There's a show that HBO has been putting out recently called The Idol, which came out at like almost exactly the same time as this show. And it is also about a singer in the entertainment industry who's going down a dark path inside of it. And I feel like comparing and contrasting the two on which does a better job of A, being a good show, and B, taking a look at the darker nature of the entertainment industry. You can make a video just comparing and contrasting the two. That one's on me. I feel like that's a banger idea that I would do if I could bring myself to watch The Idol, but I don't think I could.
It is tempting, admittedly, to do it myself, but if I make an Hoshino video, it'll probably just be about how Akane is best girl, let's be real.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do it either, because every time I'd get to a part of the video editing process where Kana comes on screen in a different new sexy pose wearing a new sexy hat, I'd have to take like a 30-minute bathroom break.
I'm not sure if I wanted to hear that, but you know what? I did hear it.
And if you want to hear more cursed audio like this in the future, viewers, then go ahead and hit the like button, comment down below what you thought of the show, and subscribe to the channel for more episodes of Castaway Anime and other videos in the future. Tune in soon for when we finish covering Jigoku Raku and Heavenly Delusion. Looking forward to Heavenly Delusion for no particular reason, especially not because it contains a certified crunchy bagel moment that I'm very much looking forward to see your reaction to.
Oh wait, what? A crunchy... Wait, hold on. Heavenly Delusion. Okay, is it that moment? Is it episode 12 that you're talking about?
I take it you
I know the I have so many...
He has been
funny story.
He has been trigger warning.
Cyanix warns me about it.
Boo! Why did he warn you? It should have been a surprise.
He said it in vague ways, but
no, he should have said it in no ways.
I'm very glad that he said it, so I can mentally prepare myself.
No, it would have been funnier to get your blind reaction to it.
If my blind reaction, you don't understand how the entire podcast would have been me trashing that moment if I had a blind reaction to it.
It would have been for the content. It would have been comedic for the.
It would have been content. I do concede that it would have been great content.
Well, you'll just have to wait 2 weeks for that one. Meanwhile, though, that'll do her for this episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. I'm dying on the inside.
And I'm Esoteric Breadcrumb.
And you'll see us next time.